This short video will take you through the process of using build flags in combination with build profiles to create two separate and different outputs from a single project source. So I've opened up the .NET sample project in DocumentX 2010 here. So I'm going to go about creating two build profiles, one for a standard edition of an imaginary product and one for a professional edition of the same product that contains a slightly different subset of content and a different title and a couple of different properties. So the first thing I'm going to do is to modify slightly the sample build profiles that we've got here. So we've currently got two, one's for 2008 style, one's for 2010 style. So I'm going to adapt those slightly to be for our standard edition. And the second build profile I'm going to open up and make that for professional edition. And I'm also going to change the output type slightly for this second one to make them both produce the same HTML help CHM output rather than two different output types, and to use the regular 2008 style templates in both. So they're both going to produce the same sort of style output, they're just going to have slightly different content. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of build flags to the project to support my filtering of content in the different outputs. So the first build flag I'm going to create will be for professional edition content. And what I'm going to do is mark content and items with this flag that are specific to the professional edition. So I want to go ahead and apply that build flag to a couple of items in the .NET assembly that I'm generating documentation for. So I'm going to open up the content file for edit from the content file section of the Project Explorer here. Just going to select the content file and select edit. And then in the tree within the content file, I'm going to navigate down to find a couple of my classes. So let's imagine for a moment that the RSS Manager class is specific to the professional edition. So I can apply build flags within the content file editor here in a couple of ways. The simplest way is just to right click on the item on the tree here and to tick the build flag that you want to apply. You can see in the tree there an indicator that that build flag has been applied to this particular item. There's also a specific build flag designer in the list of content types across the top here, so I can switch to that list if I want to get a more comprehensive UI for choosing the build flags, but both UIs do exactly the same thing under the covers. So I'm going to close away that content file now and accept the changes. So now I've marked against that particular class that I don't want it included in the documentation. I'm going to do the same kind of thing for a topic. So the RSS syntax topic here, I'm going to mark that as specific to the professional edition. So I do that directly within the properties pane here. So I've selected the topic in the Project Explorer, and in the properties pane I mark it, and again an indicator appears on the Project Explorer to indicate that's been applied to that topic. So now I've marked these items as being specific to the professional edition. What I need to do is set up the build profile for the professional edition to filter so that they are only included in the professional edition build profile. So what I really want to do is to make sure that they aren't included in the standard edition build profile. So I'm going to open it up for edit and switch to the rules page. So I'm going to define a rule in here that will achieve what I want to do here, which is to make sure that professional edition content isn't included. So I've created a new rule from the button at the top right of the rules page here, and I'm going to give it a descriptive name so I can recognize it when I come back in to edit it in the future. So I've called it don't include content marked as professional edition, and I'm going to go ahead and add a condition to the rule and a build flag condition, and I'm going to change the condition type to an excluding rule. So all of these flags are not defined as the rule type and the rule condition type, and tick the professional edition. So the nature of this rule is that it will only allow content to be included if it doesn't have the professional edition content flag defined against it. So again, I'm just going to add a descriptive name to this condition. So I've set the description there as only allow content that is not flagged as professional edition. Okay, so now we set up those rules. What that should do is exclude that content from the standard edition output, but allow that condition, because I haven't defined any rules in the professional edition build profile, it should allow that content in the professional edition. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start a build off to see whether we get the desired results. So I've skipped the video forward a few seconds to save you waiting for the build process to complete, and if I open up the standard edition content, just to remind ourselves, what we should see as excluded is the RSS syntax topic. So I'm just going to check the index to make sure that that RSS syntax topic isn't present, and it isn't in there. And within the actual assembly documentation, I should see the RSS manager class excluded, so I can't see the RSS manager class there. So I'm just going to open up the second professional edition output, which should contain those content items. And there we are, we can see the RSS syntax topic on the table of contents there, and the RSS manager class under the reference documentation. So build flags can be applied to entire items in the way that we've just gone through, but they can also be applied to individual content within either the content file editor or the topic editor. So you could highlight paragraphs, even individual words or characters with build flags in order to selectively include them in one profile or another. So to give you an idea of how you might go about applying a build flag to an individual item of content, I'm going to open up the main sample topic here. I'm going to highlight a paragraph, and I've clicked and dragged to highlight that paragraph, and if I drift my cursor up a little, I can see that familiar looking build flag picker just above the paragraph, and if I click on Professional Edition, then that paragraph is marked with the Professional Edition flag. So I can check what that's going to look like in the generated output quite easily here. Now if I use this wrench button from the tab, the document tab at the top of the edit area here, I can see I'm currently working using the standard edition profile for WYSIWYG and for preview. So if I switch to preview mode, I can see that that second paragraph is excluded by the rules that I've set up. So that concludes this short video on how we can use build flags and build profiles to produce two separate outputs from the same project source.